Hello and welcome to the meditation today. Sorry, I'm just going to adjust this. The meditation today is on aversion. So get comfortable and we'll get started. I'm just going to have a sip of water. So, aversion. Let me bring up my notes. I had a bit of aversion to this talk, actually, which is kind of interesting that the talk itself is on aversion. I'm going to read a quote by Pema Chodron to get started. So you can actually feel aversion happening. It's a sensation you can easily recognize. Even a spot on a sweater can take you there. Someone looks at us in a certain way, and we hear a certain song, or we walk into a certain room, and boom, we're hooked. It's a quality of experience that's not easy to describe, but that everyone knows well. And the Buddha said that there's 3 poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. And these 3 things cause most of our problems internally and in the wider world. And I'm curious to know, like, are you noticing when aversion arises? And today we're going to practice with that. Just the noticing of aversion can even bring it into consciousness. Because it takes a lot of mental space and time and energy, and we're not even aware of the amount of time and energy the aversion is taking in our lives. Could be resistance to a person, a place, or a thing. And how do you reset your mind? How do you pivot from aversion, from hatred and ill will and criticism and judgment that can be very swirly and spirally and sticky? So the Buddha says that we can replace it with loving kindness and generosity, acceptance, gratitude, and a practice called Tonglen, which I'll put in the notes of this talk. So today we're going to look at all this to reduce our suffering, and to suffer or not is a choice. So let's create more spaciousness and start the meditation today. So just taking a moment to ground to the space you're in. Maybe it's in bed, or maybe you're in transit, or sitting, lying down. Just taking a moment to connect to whatever's underneath you, underneath your feet, your butt, your back. And feeling into that solidity and stability of the cushion, the floor, the earth. Just letting yourself arrive to the body. Letting yourself receive the next breath. And the next. Letting the body be breathed. and receiving the sounds around you. The unique tapestry of sounds in your space. Just locating this body in this time and place. So we'll bring our attention on the contemplation of aversion. So are you aware of any areas of aversion in your life these days? Any areas of resistance? And noticing how it affects the body when you think of this person, place, or thing. Noticing where the aversion feelings lie in the body. What are the feelings? And breathing into that area or putting a hand there. Feeling what's underneath you again. And gently titrating the aversion. Noticing if you're enjoying the aversion or it's unpleasant. Is it familiar? Just reflecting on this. Notice if the charge of the aversion is still there in the body. Is it less if you open your eyes? Rest your eyes on something pleasant in your space. And coming back to rest in the breath or sound for a few moments. And coming back to the idea of aversion in your life. Maybe there's small things, small aversions like taxes, housework, or an email. Maybe there's an aversion to a neighbor, a colleague. Just noticing if any of those aversions land for you. Are you conscious of them? Is there criticism in this body, judgment to others or to myself? And noticing it's how this might bring up a feeling of stickiness or tightness in the body. It's sometimes easier to ignore aversion than to look at it. And some of us also live in aversion. That's where we feel comfortable. So just noticing any kind of consciousness around small aversions in your life, small dislikes. Shining the light of awareness. Also, aversion has to do with anger. Is there anything you're angry about these days? Maybe it's the world situation or conflict, or could be anything. When you think of anger, what sensations are there? And letting the sensations be there, letting them be big. Maybe the anger energy is spreading through the body, or it's outside the body even. And as you let the anger be big, that aggression, blame, revenge, how big can it get? If it's located in the body, how does it spread through the body? Accepting that anger and giving it space. Letting that anger be big in the body, as big as a house, bigger. And maybe that's freaky and you want to stop doing that and open your eyes, or maybe it's normal for you and you enjoy just seeing what happens. And when you're ready, coming back to your anchor again of the breath or sound, touch, and resting there. Feeling the body touch the earth, that gravity, that heaviness. And if there's any anger that's still there, you can press into the ground underneath you, or if with your feet, if you're sitting in a chair or standing, just pressing into the ground. That's a way to move things. And so resting in the anchors of breath and sound once more. Sitting with that acceptance. The anger may exist small or large in this body. And slowly pivoting towards a little bit of metta as we end the meditation today. So making yourself a bit more comfortable if you like. Adjusting the body. So may I be at ease in this body. May I invite ease into this mind. And may I invite ease into this heart, this tender heart. May I be attentive, kind, and gentle towards my own discomfort and suffering. May I be attentive, kind, and gentle towards my own discomfort and suffering. May I be grateful for glimmers of joy and well-being. May I be willing to move towards others more freely and with more openness when I can. And may I be with others and myself with empathy and understanding. Thank you for joining me. Remember that aversion is a learned habit pattern, and we can gently and slowly undo this. Bring it from unconsciousness into consciousness, and you can experiment. Oh, is this a slight aversion that I've been ignoring? And you can use the medicine of loving kindness, compassion practice, and acceptance. And they're in the notes below in my YouTube, not on the Instagram. But anyways, this all takes time and patience, and it's a slow process, and it's like a gentle efforting. So be patient with yourself. And may your aversion gradually dissipate a little bit. Sometimes it's useful, but it helps us discern, but sometimes we suffer. So take care, everyone, and have a great weekend. Bye. Thanks for joining me.